Hi, my name is Bami. Welcome to Yownn Time, our free Saturday morning yoga class. I hope you can join me and you can call all your friends and your family to also join us. So today we'll be going through a nice, soft Yin Yoga to just start your day, but there'll be a bit more excitement to go along the way, so be on the lookout for that. So wherever you are, I want you to just sit comfortably. You don't have to sit how I'm sitting. You can even just sit with your legs crossed that way if that is comfortable for you. For me today, I prefer to sit this way, and that's okay. So wherever you are, start to close your eyes, and we're going to bring attention to the body. So take a deep breath in and exhale completely. Another deep breath in and exhale completely. Deep breath in and exhale it out. Still with your eyes closed, start to bring your attention to the center of your forehead and coming back to your normal breathing. Start to set your intention for the session. What do you want to achieve today? Remember, this doesn't have to be anything profound. Maybe you just want to have fun or 1 hour of peace. Whatever it is, just observe it without judging it. Once your intention is set, you can open your eyes, and we're just going to start with some neck rolls just to get the kink out of the neck. So start to roll your neck around, inhaling while your head is back and exhaling while your head is forward. So keep matching the movement with your breath, but you can go at your own pace. You can speed it up or you can slow it down. Just as long as you're inhaling with your head back and exhaling with your head forward. And try to just take it easy. Please do not decapitate yourself. So just keep rolling your head around in one direction, inhaling with the head back and exhaling with the head forward. Just a few more of these. This feels really good early in the morning, especially when you feel like you didn't sleep all too well. And then let's just start to switch sides. So roll in the other direction, inhaling with your head back and exhaling with your head forward. Just keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Like the rock song, if you know it. Just go at your own pace. You might even start to feel a little kind of like 2 wine glasses in. That's the feeling you're going for. Just a few more of these. And then start to come back to the center. Doesn't that feel relaxing? Okay, so we're just going to start in a child's pose. I like to start in a child's pose first because I like to ground myself before I start moving, to prepare myself. So have your knees nice and wide and your big toes touching behind you. So your knees don't need to be as wide as the mat, but if that feels comfortable for you, that's okay. You also have the option to just bring your knees together and just take your child's pose that way. But I prefer my knees apart. So start to walk your hands away, resting your whole forearm down so that your whole arm is relaxed. And then start to put your head down and just come here and breathe. So while you're here, you're going to alter your breathing a little bit. So start to take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can last longer on your exhale than on your inhale. Let's do that again. Deep breath in. Expand your exhale. And another deep breath in. Expand your exhale. So just keep doing that, taking deep breaths and expanding your exhales. And while you're here, there's that little pause at the end of each breath, right after you exhale before you draw in the next breath. I want you to keep exploring that pause. Just notice it. I like to call that little pause a little pocket of stillness. Pretty much because it's hard to notice when you're moving around, so you'd have to be very still to notice it. Keep breathing deeply, expanding those exhales. And observing those little pockets of stillness. Just 2 more breaths. Sometimes when you exhale, you might need to moan it out. If that's what you need, by all means do that. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, slowly start to push yourself up into a tabletop. So make sure that your knees fall under your hips and your wrists fall under your shoulders. So while you're here, we're going to wake up the spine a little bit. So just taking some cat-cows to wake up the spine. So as you inhale, start to coil your tailbone up, your chin up, chest out. And as you exhale, round everything in, pushing the ground away. Inhale, everything up. Exhale, round everything in. For others, it's helpful when you do this and you keep bending your elbows in the process. So you'd be inhaling, rounding everything up, elbows bent, and exhaling, pushing the floor away, rounding everything in. Inhale up, exhale, round everything in. Couple more. Inhale up, exhale, round everything in. Last one. Inhale up, exhale, round everything in. And then start to come back to neutral. So now we're just going to thread the needle a little. So on your inhale, what helps with stability is to bring your left hand somewhere towards the center so that it gives you some stability. And then bring your right arm all the way up as you inhale, and as you exhale, thread it under your left arm, putting your head down. So just keep doing that movement. Inhaling, right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. Make sure to squeeze the belly in. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. 2 more. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. And then start to come back to the center. So this time it's your right palm that moves somewhere towards the center, just to give you stability. And then inhale, left arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. 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 Last one. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. Fix this. This thing came off. Okay. And then come back to that tabletop. So while you're here, if you're like me and you have wrist problems, what can help you is, as you hold onto the mat, make sure you engage all 5 tips, and make sure that the inside of your knuckles is also engaged, almost like you're trying to Siri is whiling. The phone is listening to me. Let me start from here. So come back to a tabletop, and then we're going to push into a down dog. So if you're like me and you have wrist problems, make sure that you grab hold of the mat using your fingertips and the inside of your knuckles, almost like you're trying to really grab into it. So start to prepare, tuck your toes in, and then just push yourself up into a down dog. So if this is your first down dog of the day, your hamstrings might be a little cold. So just start to walk the dog is what they call it. So putting one heel down, bending another knee, putting that heel down, bending the other knee. Just that movement, like you're walking. And don't forget to breathe. Just keep walking the dog, warming up the hamstrings. Really push the floor away. Just raise your tailbone high as you can. And then come to neutral, stop walking the dog. And then while you're here, close your eyes and keep your jaw unclenched. And we're just going to hold this for a few breaths. So remember to expand your exhales, make them longer than your inhales. I'm going to take 3 breaths here. So in addition to strengthening your arms and warming up your hamstrings, this is a nice inversion to just get the blood flowing in the opposite direction. Something that's great for headaches and just general detoxing. Start to take one last breath. And as you exhale, slowly walk your feet all the way to meet your hands. Step, 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 until you find yourself in a full fold. So while you're here, if your hamstrings are feeling a little too cold, you can keep your knees bent. What you want is to make sure that your torso and your thighs are stuck together. So that is the sign. If you feel like they are far apart, that means damage is being made to your back. That's not what you want. So you want to make sure they keep being together. So if that means you bend your knees, by all means, please do that. So just stay here and allow your head to fall however it needs to fall. This will help not to put a strain on the neck. Take a few breaths here. And then for the next few breaths, hold on to each elbow. You'll feel your upper body getting heavier. That's what you want, so that you can feel the pull towards the floor. And this helps to sort of like organize those discs of the spine. This feels really great when you spend the whole day just sitting down. You might even want to swing from side to side. Don't forget to breathe. Keep allowing your upper body to be heavy and pull towards the floor. you want to feel something in your hamstrings. If you don't feel anything in your hamstrings, it means you can keep trying to straighten your legs bit by bit and allowing your crown to just move towards the floor. After swinging from side to side, I like to stay still for a bit, find some stillness before I move on. This is another one that's really great when you have a headache. And of course, it won't solve all the headaches, but sometimes it's really helpful. I don't know about you, but this feels really good. I even feel like I'm getting a facelift off of this, so added advantage. Start to take one last breath here, and as you exhale, bend. Start to knees deeply all the way until you come to a sitting position, and then we're just going to get into those hamstrings a little more. So extend your left leg out and bring your right foot inside your left thigh. So I'm just gonna move this way so that you can see. And then while you're here, you want to remove all the junk out of the way. Once you've removed the junk out of the way, take a deep breath in, and as you inhale, imagine something pulling you from the crown of your head, just making your spine long. And as you exhale, slowly bend over that straight leg. So just to give you variation, your bend might look something like this. It might come all the way down, or you might even be able to hold on to that foot. What you shouldn't do though is try to round your back that way, otherwise you will hurt your back. So try to see if instead of bringing your chest to your leg, you could bring your chest forward. So that's what you're going for. And you should feel a stretch in your hamstrings. That's what you're looking for. That's what you want. And keep your foot flexed. Don't point it. Just keep it flexed. And stay there and breathe. So whenever you're doing these long hold poses where you're getting into your connective tissues, breathing really helps you. It helps you relax your muscles and relax your body. That's what you need. So take huge inhales and take longer exhales. And the trick about a pose like this is that gravity will keep pulling your upper body, and you just work on your breathing, because as you breathe you keep relaxing and allowing gravity to pull your upper body. Keep breathing deeply, maybe even observing those little pockets of stillness. By the way, this feels great when you've just rolled out of bed. Just a few more breaths. My hands are really warm, so this feels great for my foot. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, slowly walk yourself back to neutral. Great job. And then I want you to keep that knee where it is and just bring that left foot all the way to the other side into a twist. So instead of like a cat-cow, we're not putting the knee down. The knee has to be up and that left foot has to be flat. So stay here, take a deep breath as you extend your spine. And as you exhale, start to twist back. You should feel a stretch from the butt all the way outside that left thigh into the hip. Take one last breath. And as you exhale, round everything up, come back. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So this time it's your right leg that goes all the way out and your left foot inside your right thigh. And then make sure to get the junk out of the way. You want to feel your sitting bones connecting to the mat. Start to take a big inhale, straightening your back. And as you exhale, start to fold over that leg. Remember your options. You don't have to go all the way down. You can just be here. That's okay. And what you want is to lead with your chest forward instead of down. So wherever you are, start to take big inhales and longer exhales. So this one, in addition to just stretching out your hamstrings, you'll feel a stretch in the lower back, especially the side body. Keep breathing through it, and easing into the pose. Keep observing those little pauses at the end of each breath. And as you exhale, you want to make sure that you really are getting rid of all the air from your lungs. You want to make sure there's absolutely nothing left to give after you give back all the breath. Just a few more breaths. This is also great for when you're preparing for splits. Who knows, we might even sneak in some splits today. Start to take one last breath in, and as you exhale, slowly come up, and keeping that left knee where it is. Bring your right foot all the way to the other side. And then as you inhale, make sure your spine is long. And as you exhale, start to look back. You'll feel a stretch in your lower back on the right side into your hip all the way up your thigh. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, slowly untwist yourself. And we're just going to come to a saddle. So the thing about a saddle is you don't necessarily have to have your feet as wide apart as possible. You can have them just as wide as you can. But you want to be just along the edge, just on the edge of feeling that stretch. But you shouldn't feel pain. It shouldn't be painful. If you feel pain, it means just bring them together a little bit. Otherwise, just keep them apart. The other thing is to remove the junk away. It's always important to move the junk away because you want to feel the sitting bones connected to the mat. So while you're here, so we're bending over, but first you want to ease into it. You don't want to just immediately put your forehead down, even if you're that flexible. You want to just keep building up to it. So take a deep breath here. And as you exhale, you can walk your hands a little further. And maybe today you're just here, that's fine. So here not only are you stretching your hamstrings, but you're opening up the hips. So that's the thing about Yin Yoga. We hold poses for a while and we are concentrating on the hips a lot because they do pretty much a lot. They do everything really. Most of the connective tissues we have are in our lower extremities, so that's why we really concentrate on the hips. So just breathe deeply here. So this is one pose where you really want to use your breath as your source of strength. As you build up, you might find that you start to feel comfortable and maybe you can walk your hands a little bit further out. So as soon as you feel comfortable, especially in the hamstrings, it means you have room to walk out your hands again. Keep breathing deeply, taking huge inhales and long exhales. This one is great for if you are practicing for middle splits. For whatever reason, I don't know why you want to do that, but if that's your thing, then this is a great way of warming up. Keep breathing deeply. As you inhale, imagine sending the breath to where you feel the most tight. And as you exhale, imagine the tightness just melting away. This is also one of those poses where you might think you can't do it, but if you give it time, you'll see that you can actually do it. Deeply. Maybe at this point you can put your forearms down. And if you have a pillow, you can just gently rest your forehead on the pillow. And at this point you should really be feeling it in the hips. The hips are really opening up here, which is really great for mobility. Also remember to keep your jaw unclenched, just to help your body relax. Keep observing those little pockets of stillness. If you feel like there's more room, you might even stack your hands together in fists and bring your forehead down. So gravity will just keep pulling your upper body, and all you have to do is really breathe through it.
And just like you've noticed, this is one of those poses you really want to give time to. So you just might be here for 6 minutes. Keep breathing deeply, just a few more breaths. And remember, you can keep adjusting. Maybe now you can rest your forehead on your flat hands. Just a few more breaths. And maybe you can put your forehead down. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, slowly start to come up, taking your time. And maybe use your hands to just bring your knees up. Then wind wipe your knees from side to side, just to get rid of any tension you might have been holding on to there. And then what feels great right after that settle, long hold settle, is just to come to what we call deer pose. So deer pose, you're just going to have your legs this way. So if you notice, you might be leaning over to one side. That's okay, especially when you're starting. But as you give it time, gravity will keep pulling the butt that's hovering. It'll keep pulling it down. So just sit here, sit tall, keeping your jaw unclenched. Maybe have a smile on your face and breathe. Breathing deeply, expanding those exhales and making them longer than your inhales. Start to take one last breath, and as you exhale, you can come off the pose. So what I like to do coming from a deer pose is to come to a double pigeon, which is a deep hip opener. So in a double pose, especially when you're just starting it, you'll find that there's that space between your left foot and your right knee. That's okay. Gravity will take care of that. What you need to be aware of is that try to keep your hips as level as they are so that they're not tilted to one side, and keep your back as straight as you can. So you should be feeling it, especially in the hip of that upper knee. That's what you want to feel. That's just your hips just opening up. So just breathe through this. This one, if you have knee problems, if there are mild knee problems, just flex your feet. It'll help protect that knee. The connective tissue will help protect that knee. But if you have bad knee problems, I would advise to sit this one out. So this one tends to be a little uncomfortable, so you want to just breathe through the discomfort and accept it instead of fighting it, which is easier said than done, I know that. But just give it a try. See how many breaths you can sneak in while you're here. Keep using your breath as your source of strength. Just a few more breaths. And if this feels like nothing for you, you might even want to walk your hands in front of you and just fold over yourself. It'll force that knee down even further. Start to take one last breath here. And as you exhale, slowly start to unravel yourself from that pose. And then we're just going to do the same sequence on the other side. So this time, we start off with the deer pose. Remember, it's okay if you're leaning onto one side, but with time, you'll be able to just stabilize your hips until they're level. So while you're here, make sure to sit tall as you can, and you'll find that the more you try to stabilize your hips, the more you feel the stretch on the outside of that left thigh. That's what you're going for. Your jaw unclenched, your back as straight as you can. Maybe have a smile on your face. And breathe. Keep observing those little pauses at the end of each breath. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, slowly come off, keeping that right knee where it is, that right leg where it is. Bring your foot all the way here to a double pigeon. So the idea is to have your legs look like an equal sign. So as you start, you'll have the space between your foot and your right knee. That's okay. Just stay here and breathe through it, keeping your back as straight as you can and your jaw unclenched. Just allowing yourself to feel that discomfort because it's really uncomfortable. And that's the other thing about Yin Yoga. It's basically just teaching us to sit with the discomfort and not try to ignore it or distract ourselves from it, just to sit in it until we get to the other side. While you're here, feeling the discomfort, keep breathing, because for as long as you're breathing, you're just going to be okay. You might not feel like it, but you will be okay. Remember, if your knee is a little uncomfortable, keep your foot flexed. Expanding those exhales, making them longer than your inhales. Just a few more breaths. Feels like you're comfortable enough, you can place your hands on the other side of your legs so that you just fold into yourself here. And this will be a deeper version of this double pigeon. Take one last breath here. And as you exhale, slowly transition from this pose. Oh my gosh. And after that one, you'll need to wind wipe your knees from side to side.
Great job. And then you're just going to make your way into your hands and knees. And then after all that intense hip opening, it's always a good idea to have some kind of buffer. And I like to buffer using, you guessed it, a child's pose. So just come to a child's pose here. And just take a rest here. Remember to really take in a lot of breath as you inhale. Fill up those lungs. And as you exhale, let go of all the air until you have absolutely nothing left to give. And the reason why we need to take a longer time exhaling is because generally, as human beings, it's easier to hold on to things than to let go of them. It's the same with breath. We are more likely to panic about taking in breath than to give back breath. So really force yourself to let go of all the breath as you exhale. And keep observing those little pockets of stillness. Allow them to just calm you down. Start to take one last breath in. And as you exhale, start to come all the way up. And then we're just going to come to half pigeons, starting with the left foot. So if you feel like you do this all the time and you're comfortable, you can move your shin to be about parallel with the width of the mat. But if you're a beginner, it's okay to have your foot a little in. And then wherever you are, whether your shin is out or in, you want to make sure that your hips are level so much that you can let go and not fall to the left side. So if you can let go and you feel like you're stable enough, that's when you can walk your arms away and maybe put your forehead down, your forearms down. Take a breath here. And you should be feeling a nice stretch on your left thigh. I don't know if nice is the word, but you will feel the stretch. So just breathe through it. Really fill up your lungs as you inhale. And as you exhale, expand that exhale until there's absolutely nothing left. Just keep breathing deeply. You want to make sure that that back leg is straight as you can keep it, and make sure that the foot is pointed so that all 10 toes, well, 5 toes are connecting to the floor. Another thing about doing Yin Yoga in the winter is that you might want to have a little blanket next to you so that when you're in these poses for a long time, you're at least not freezing. Keep breathing deeply here. And if this feels like you're comfortable with it, you might want to move your foot a little up just to challenge yourself. So you want to keep challenging yourself. Whenever you feel comfortable, it means you have room to do more. You keep chasing the discomfort. With great discomfort comes great growth, is what I think. So just breathe through it. Filling up those lungs like you're grateful to be able to breathe. And giving all the air back like you know that you will get the chance to draw it back in again. If you're at home, you might want to grab the pillow, maybe just rest your forehead on the pillow.
just so that you don't strain your neck. This pose is really great when you feel like you have constant pain in your tailbone. Just eases up that pain a little bit. Just a few more breaths here. Start to take one last breath in, and as you exhale, slowly start to come up, and then come back to your hands and knees. I find that for a lot of my students, it's easier to get into this pose when they start from their hands and knees. And then now you can bring the right leg, and remember your options. You can keep the foot in towards the body, or you can move it away from the body depending on how flexible you are. So once you're here, make sure that you are stable enough to let go using both hands. That's when you know that you are doing it the right way. And then you can just bring your forearms down and just take a deep breath and exhale completely. And just keep doing that, making the exhales longer than the inhales, and observing those little pockets of stillness. Those little pockets of stillness are like gifts of nothingness. Maybe put your forehead down on your hands or on a pillow, whatever feels good for you. Remember here, the work is in the opening of the hips, so your neck shouldn't feel like it's working. Keep breathing deeply here. This was really great for me when I had sciatica during my pregnancy. So it might be something to try out when you have chronic sciatica. Just a few more breaths. If you feel like you want to challenge yourself, you can extend your arms out and put your forehead down here. And if you feel like you want to challenge yourself even more, for whatever reason, you can bring out your arm and just twist towards that front knee. This will bring you into a deeper, more advanced version of this pose. So you will feel that stretch on the outside of the thigh deepening. Start to take one last breath in, and as you exhale, come back to neutral, bringing that leg back, and then we're just going to come to the back a bit, just for some twists. So lying flat on your back, make sure that there's no space between your lower back and the mat. If you feel like there's space, just lift your hips up a bit and then place them back down. Then you can have your arms out into a T. So if you feel like, if you're in the cold like I am, you will want something underneath your arms because the floor is really cold. But wherever you are, start to stack your knees up and take a deep breath here. And as you exhale, start to dip them over to one side, all the way down. And maybe look towards the right arm. And if this feels like you're having difficulty breathing, you can just look up, because the twist is not for your neck, it's for your midsection. So wherever you are, you want to try your best to keep both of your shoulders down. So don't have the right shoulder up, for instance. So just keep it down. If you have your right shoulder up, it means that the twist is just too deep. So what you can do is to put a cushion under your knees, and that will help you. So wherever you are, start to breathe deeply. This is a pose that's great for when you feel bloated or gassy. It just gives the body that ringing movement. It's really great for detoxing. First thing in the morning you wake up, instead of lemon water, well, you can still combine with lemon water, but it also serves the same purpose. And your next breath in, bring your knees all the way up again. And as you exhale, dip them all the way down to the other side. And this time look towards the left, or even up, depending on whether you have difficulty breathing. So if you're feeling super bloated, you want to stay like this for 10 minutes on each side. Deeply. Start to take one last breath. And as you exhale, bring your legs down, all the way down along your mat into our final resting pose. So the final resting pose, also known as corpse pose, which is a very morbid name, because if we're resting and it's corpse, it's as if we're resting in peace. So anyway, you want to lie down here, and you can really take this anyway. You can take it with your knees up, resting against each other, but if not, you can just have your arms and legs just straight out. Your arms beside you, palms should be open and facing up. And then just do a general scan of your body. Here you don't have to breathe deeply or anything. You can come back to your normal breathing. And then just make sure the space between your eyebrows is relaxed. You don't look angry. And keep your jaw unclenched here. If you're not epileptic, or if you don't feel like your tongue could choke you, you can release it from the roof of your mouth just to let it relax. And feel your shoulders relaxed away from your ears, all the way down. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw, you're not clenching your butt, you're not clenching your hamstrings. And remember, while you're here, you're not anybody's sister, anybody's dad, anybody's anything. At this time, you're just yourself in existence on a mat. So whatever roles you play outside of this mat at this moment, just relinquish yourself of those roles and rest.
Start to bring feeling into your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. If you have more time, you can stay in this one for as long as you want. Maybe even fall asleep here. But if you don't, just start to bring feeling to your body. Maybe shake your head no from side to side. And then when you're ready, start to roll yourself into the right side, into a fetal position. And then stay here, allowing yourself to feel safe and grounded and loved. And just thank yourself for showing up today and all the other days that you've shown up in your life. And take a moment to forgive yourself for being impatient with yourself, whether you were impatient emotionally or impatient with your body. Saying things that you wouldn't say to somebody else, to yourself. And finally, take some time to affirm yourself. Remind yourself that you're doing your best. Remind yourself that you're proud of yourself. And you really mean it when you say these things to yourself. When you're ready, start to push yourself up into a seated position. We're just going to seal our practice with one last breath. So start to sit up, eyes closed, feeling thankful. On your next breath in, draw your arms all the way overhead. And as you exhale, palms together and down to your heart. Thank you for practicing with me.